Guys, girls, Ape Nation, how is everyone today? It is Friday, August 6th, 2021. Market just closed about 40 minutes ago, and we saw a little price dip after yesterday's 12% uptick, finishing out just at $32.70, just below that $33 mark. But there's other things I want to get into right now, more importantly, than the price action for today or any TA on it. As most of you guys already know, Gary Gensler was on the other day on CNBC, and he was talking about transparency in the market, dark pools, and how they're taking a very good look, a very close look at retail investment in the stock market. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it again, so I'm not going to replay it. I don't think there's a need for that. But there were two other interviews this week that I thought were very eye-opening, and they should be to the greater market and to the SEC chairman, because if he's listening, as he said, he's on Twitter and he's talking to people on retail back and forth and discussing the legitimacy of the stock market right now with payment for order flow and everything else that we know. So I want to get into those other two interviews, and before we go any further,
cue the speeder.
And you just said that on camera. This going viral.
Ape Nation, thank you for helping me pass 200 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, hopefully I can earn it today. All right, my people, let's get into this. So I know there's there's some controversy out there about Matt Kohrs and his decisions as far as super chatting and all that. I've said this before and I'll say it again. He's providing a valuable service to people, keeping them informed and up to date on AMC and keeping the interest alive. The same thing a lot of us are trying to do, especially guys who aren't monetized or anything. We have a vested interest in AMC and seeing the manipulation come to an end and AMC to squeeze and get paid. I have said over and over again, we live in United States. This is a capitalist society. And if he's providing a service that someone wishes to pay for, I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, he's keeping the interest in on the stock and helping other apes out there, especially probably newer apes, to try to navigate their way through this mess that we've gotten ourselves into. But he did go on Charles Payne the other night, and he had an interview. And I think what was brought up was interesting. There's actually two interviews I want to get to. The first one, which will be Charles Payne with Matt Kohrs. And the second one is Charles Payne and Gunjan Banerjee, I believe her name is. And I want you guys to just take a listen to what they're saying. But don't let me talk anymore. Roll the film.
So, it's so heartbreaking to keep hearing this, right? And then we had Gary Gensler. He was on TV this week. He won't come on this show. I keep inviting him on. And he's given lip service, right? I mean, how confident are you that anyone with some power to level the playing field, because let's face it, the hedge funds never run out of money. They get to write the rules, and then they get to skirt the rules. How confident are you that anyone will ever truly try to make this a more level playing field?
Let me answer this one in two different parts. So with Gary Gensler, and maybe I'm being naively optimistic, but I do believe he is on the side of retail investors, traders, and I do think he's seeking market transparency and fairness. I question if he has the resources and tools available to him. And for the second part, I'm not.
Okay, so Matt's telling Charles here that he's optimistic about Gary Gensler and his position on the side of the retail investor, and not of the larger hedge funds. And as far as I'm concerned, the way I was brought up, talk is cheap. But it is true. Until we see some action being taken, Gary Gensler can come on and say whatever he wants. And of course, we can be optimistic about it. But there's no pressure on him right now, really, from outside forces. If there was some pressure coming, maybe, say, from Congress and the House Finance Committee, maybe that would light a fire under Gary's. But I really do feel that this is going to take a lot more pressure coming from just besides a bunch of people on YouTube and Reddit. I think Congress needs to get involved. They're really quick when it comes to voting rights in Texas to jump on a plane and go to D.C. When it comes to the broad market, and the retail investor getting screwed, they're nowhere to be found, right? So that's my problem. And this has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This has to do with the government as a whole. I think all of them are corrupt. They are not serving the best interests of the people right now. And they need to be called out for it. Because that type of pressure, if it's coming from Congress, then Gensler's got to act faster, right? He doesn't want to have them start drawing people in for hearings and make a whole mess out of this to the world about how corrupt the United States stock market is right now. All right, let's move on. Second video that I pulled up that I thought was interesting was from today. Treys had this clip, and it's talking about the AMC earning calls and the Reddit revolution. This interview was with Gunjan Banerjee.
I know the Wall Street Journal talks to a whole lot of retail investors. Are you getting the sense that they're in it for the long run? I mean, this revolution has been phenomenal. I love it. I try my best to encourage it. I want people to be in the market forever. I want it to be a lifelong endeavor. But there's some reasons, people still feel the playing field's not level. Gary Gensler's saying the right things, but will he do the right things? So there's some question marks out there. You cover this as well as anyone else. What's your thought?
I think it's tough to generalize, because I speak to investors who say I'm trying to get in and out of the options incredibly quickly, within hours or even days, to just pocket a quick profit. And then others are really dedicated to AMC, for example, and plan to hold on to their shares for the long term. And that's what's interesting is it's really tough to make a generalization about the broader individual investor base, because they all seem to have different motives and skill levels. So I've seen both things. I've seen investors say, I'm not letting go of my AMC shares. I'm not letting go of my GameStop shares. And other people are like, I'm going to flip this call option in 2 hours and let me see how much I can make.
Yeah. I'm glad you put it that way. A lot of times the media mischaracterizes them completely, and it's a whole lot of people with varied interests, but I just hope they're here to stay. Gunjan, you're reporting on...
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with Gunjan on that. I think the vast majority of Ape Nation is holding this stock for the long term, right? We are waiting for them to cover these FTD'S, these naked shorts, these synthetic shares that they could have taken out, who knows how many, billions of them they could have produced. I wish we had, as Ape Nation, the same ability to print dollars as these hedge funds do to print naked shorts, because we could fight this battle a lot easier. But our money's coming out of our pocket that we have to earn, that we get on a weekly basis. We can't just pull money out of thin air like they can a naked short. I'm going to go back to what Keenan Grace said last week. It was hilarious. He came out and said, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a naked short. And he was talking about how there could be up to 500 million naked shorts out there for AMC. And look, whatever the number is, we may never know. We may never be able to get to the bottom of that. But until these guys start to lock in and close their positions, really, for me, nothing has changed again for AMC. I would like to see some involvement from Gensler. I think that that's going to be necessary just besides the DTCC filings. I think that the SEC needs to be involved, look over all these things like he says he's doing. But talk is cheap in my world. And until there's some action taken, we're in the boat that we are in a survival of the fittest mode right now. And we continue to fight. And I love all you guys out there that are doing this with me, that have helped support my channel. I really am appreciative of all you've done. The comments, the likes, the views, all of it's been great. I am going to make a part 2 to this because it would be too long if I want to get into some things. But I want to talk about these documents from Jonathan Katz back in 2004 from Citadel and what they entail about payment for order flow while this was getting looked over by the SEC. So I will have that video coming out either later tonight or tomorrow. So if you want to like the video, subscribe to the channel, be ready for that, turn on the bell, whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do. But that's it for this afternoon. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll be with you dropping 2 or 3 videos over the next 48 hours, getting into this whole thing about how the SEC has known about this. They were notified about it a long time ago by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and by Citadel themselves. Ken Griffith signed document. And I'm going to break down this document and what he said and what was the response. So stay tuned for that. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Masterlorian, and I'm out.